Here is Marilyn in Washington, D.C. Marilyn, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I testified at one of the hearings about the inaccessibility of the supposed accessible voting machines for blind and visually impaired people. And I would like to know what has been done about the subject of access to voting for blind and visually impaired people. Is there a new system, or are we still stuck with the same old mess, or what?
Well, I'm trying to recall just now, but I know we did address that. I'm not sure just sitting here right now exactly what the solution was, but we did address that, and we can certainly talk offline when I have access to the specifics.
Is this something that Marilyn should call your office about, or how should she communicate?
Well, certainly she can. She can call my office. She can call. She can call right after the show if she'd like. 202-724-8062.
And Marilyn, thank you very much for calling. You can call here at 800-433-8850.
I have found, in all the elections I've covered, that the people who don't get a lot of attention, and the city often needs more poll workers, but there are efforts to there are ways to bring ballots out to a car. You don't have to, if you're infirm, or they will bring a ballot to you. And there are lots of people who do that kind of on a yeoman basis every election and who don't quite get the credit they deserve.
Yes,
but the ballot's got to be accessible.
That's for sure. But part of that issue has to do with some people feel that their privacy is compromised by that kind of an approach. So
here is Marianne in Washington, D.C. Marianne, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'd like to ask Councilmember Cheh about the same-day registration and voting. If someone comes into the polls and registers the same day and votes, I'd like to know how you will be able to verify the validity of the address and the location of that person who voted, that they are appropriately voting in their precinct that they live in time to count the ballots for a final tally.
Well, the same-day registrant will be treated the same way as anybody else who may present an issue, let's say, in terms of a need for further verification. That is, they will cast a provisional ballot. Their ballots will be segregated from the rest of the ballots to make sure, it's sort of a double check, to make sure that they are who they said they are and that they have the requisite proof of residency. You have to come with a photo ID or some other acceptable document under federal law to establish that you live in the district and you meet the residency requirements. But again, it's not going to be finalized right then and there. In fact, you're going to vote on a separate line, and it will be a provisional ballot, and only later will those ballots be cleared. Now, it may happen, as it does happen sometimes with provisional ballots, that it may delay final certification of the election results, because if the election is a close election or there are issues about challenges to ballots or anything of that nature, sometimes you have to take a longer time to actually certify the results. So that may have some effect. I'm just not sure because we've not done this
Here's
before.
Sarah. Thank you for your call, Marianne. Here's Sarah in Foggy Bottom. Sarah, we're running out of time. Could you make your question brief, please?
A similar question. Instead of counting absentee ballots after the election is announced, since you already have them, why not count absentee ballots in the morning? So they can
Excellent
be
question. Excellent question.
Well, perhaps that can be done. I suppose that could be done, but the scheme at the moment is not to treat them as separate categories.
Well, since Tom Shore would think that's excellent, maybe the city council needs to jump into action and do it immediately.
I want the results faster, not later.
Sarah,
we want Tom to come and help us count the ballots.
Thank you very much.
Do we have time to ask her?
No, Vanessa in Washington, D.C. It's your turn. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Okay, just really quickly, I wanted to ask about the provisions for a paper trail. And the reason that I'm asking is that I worked on the mayoral election 2 cycles ago. Mm-hmm. When I went to every precinct in Ward 4, all of the campaign workers were concerned because the people who voted, they got a little slip of paper with a number on it. And the people who voted in the morning, their number should have been lower than the people who voted in the afternoon because it was sequential. But it wasn't happening that way. And so there were concerns all over the place that somebody was doing something illicit to affect the election. So I'm just looking for safeguards in terms of paper trail to make sure that the election is integrous.
Mary Cheh, could you make your answers
Well,
brief as
yes,
possible,
we
please?
were worried about that in the prior elections, and so one of the things that we've done, we have new voting machines, and we have all the voting machines will have a paper trail. We'll have ways to audit this and check it, and I agree with you. We want to make sure that everything is accurate, and we want to make sure that people perceive everything as accurate because we want them to have confidence in the outcome of the vote.
Thank you very much for your call,
Poor
Vanessa.
Tom wants to.
Mary Cheh is a member of the D.C. City Council. She's a Democrat who represents Ward 3. Mary Cheh, thank you very much for joining us.